You've been hitting your 10,000 steps every single day. You bought the walking pad, you're doing the post-dinner walks, you've got the step counter on your wrist buzzing at you every hour to move. You tried the morning walks, the fasted walks, the just park farther away trick you saw on TikTok at midnight. And nothing's changing. Your weight's the same, your energy's the same. That stubborn belly fat hasn't moved in months. Here's what nobody's telling you. Your body adapted. That walk that used to challenge your heart rate and leave you a little winded 3 months ago? Your cardiovascular system got stronger, your muscles got more efficient, and you stopped giving your body a reason to change. The walk didn't stop working. Your body just outgrew it. In the next 13 minutes, I'm going to show you 3 science-backed techniques that can dramatically improve the results you're getting from your walks, in the same time or less. I'll give you the exact protocols, the specific studies behind them, and a realistic timeline for when you'll start noticing changes. But fair warning, this isn't a just walk slower and manifest your dream body video. This is real exercise science with real numbers. If you want a magic supplement recommendation, click away now. Still here? Good. Because what I'm about to share is backed by research from institutions like the University of Houston and UT Southwestern, published in journals like Circulation, the Lancet, and iScience. One of these protocols reduced cardiac stiffness in sedentary adults to levels more typical of people decades younger. And it all starts with understanding one thing most people get completely wrong about walking. It's not about how many steps you take, it's about how you take them. Before we get into the science, hit that subscribe button because you're about to learn something that completely changes how you think about your daily walk. If you want more research-backed health content that gives you the protocols and the numbers instead of vague advice, subscribe and turn on notifications. Let me give you the reality check first. That 10,000 step target? It was never based on any study. In 1965, a Japanese company released a pedometer called the Manpoke, which literally translates to 10,000 step meter. It was a marketing number. As Harvard epidemiologist I-Min Lee put it, it sounded good and was easy to remember. Now, I know that's not what you want to hear if you've been chasing that number. But here's where it gets interesting. The actual research tells a very different story. The most comprehensive analysis we have was published in the Lancet Public Health in July 2025. 57 studies, over 160,000 adults, looking at steps and 9 different health outcomes. And here's what they found. Compared to walking just 2,000 steps a day, walking 7,000 steps was associated with a 47% lower risk of dying from any cause, a 25% lower risk of cardiovascular disease, a 38% lower risk of dementia, a 37% lower risk of cancer death, a 22% lower risk of depression, and a 14% lower risk of type 2 diabetes. Those are massive numbers from a study of over 160,000 people. And the critical finding: for most outcomes, the biggest gains happened between 2,000 and 7,000 steps. After that, benefits continued, but the curve flattened significantly. So for most people, 7,000 steps is the sweet spot for the biggest return on investment. You get more at 10,000, but the incremental improvement is small. And this is the part that changes everything. Your body is the most efficient survival machine on the planet. When you walk the same route at the same pace every day, your heart gets stronger, your muscles adapt, and the same effort that used to push you doesn't push you anymore. Your heart rate during that walk drops, your perceived exertion drops. You finish feeling fine instead of feeling like you worked. This isn't your body burning fewer calories per step. That's a common misconception. Your cardiovascular system adapted so the same walk no longer triggers the stress response that drives improvement. And research from Duke University shows that when people increase activity at one point in the day, the body compensates by reducing energy elsewhere. The solution isn't more steps. The solution is intensity. Think of it as a spectrum. On one end, your regular daily walk, foundational, protective, but eventually your body stops being challenged. In the middle, interval walking training, same time commitment, measurably better results. At the top, structured high-intensity intervals that can transform your cardiovascular system in 2 sessions per week. You don't have to do all 3. You pull whichever lever fits where you are right now. Now, this is the part most people miss. Instead of chasing an arbitrary step goal, you add intensity to the walk you're already doing. The simplest way to do that is a technique called interval walking training, or IWT, developed by Dr. Hiroshi Noze at Shinshu University in Japan. Here's how it works. You walk at your normal, comfortable pace for 3 minutes. Then you walk at a brisk pace, about 70% of your maximum capacity, for another 3 minutes. Repeat 5 times for a total of 30 minutes. No weights, no equipment, no gym membership. Just your legs and a timer. Now here's where the research gets interesting. In the original 2007 study published in the Mayo Clinic Proceedings, 246 adults were randomly assigned to no walking, moderate continuous walking, and IWT. After 5 months, the moderate walking group showed essentially no improvement. But the IWT group improved peak aerobic capacity by 8 to 9%, increased knee extension strength by 13%, and reduced systolic blood pressure by about 9 points. The moderate walkers got none of that, despite walking for the same amount of time. A follow-up study in 2019 tracked 679 adults with a mean age of 65. Peak aerobic capacity improved by 14%. And here's the key finding. The improvements were driven almost entirely by time spent in the fast walking intervals. Not total walking time, not step count. Intensity was the variable that mattered. But here's where I have to be straight with you. You'll see claims online that IWT produces 4 times the blood pressure improvement or 40% stroke risk reduction. I went looking for those studies. They don't exist. No IWT trial has ever measured stroke outcomes. And a 2022 study found that IWT did not significantly reduce blood pressure versus a control group. The blood pressure evidence is inconsistent. What is consistent is the aerobic capacity improvement, the muscle strength gains, and the glucose control benefits. Those are real, replicated, and meaningful. Here's the protocol. Warm up for 3 to 5 minutes, then 3 minutes at a comfortable pace, 3 minutes at a brisk pace. Repeat 5 times for 30 minutes total. To know if your brisk pace is right, use the talk test. During fast intervals, you should be able to speak in short sentences, but you shouldn't be able to sing. If you can sing, you're going too slow. If you can't finish a sentence, you're going too fast. Once your body adapts, and it will, you progress. Walk hills during the fast intervals. Wear a weighted vest. Extend to 40 or 45 minutes. Or shorten the recovery intervals from 3 minutes down to 2. This is progressive overload applied to walking. Now let's take it one level higher. The Norwegian 4x4 protocol. After a few minutes of warm-up, you do 4 minutes of high-intensity effort, getting your heart rate up to about 90 to 95% of your maximum. Then 3 minutes of active recovery. Repeat 4 times. That's only 16 minutes of actual high-intensity effort in a 35 to 40-minute session. High intensity does not mean sprinting until you collapse. For beginners, those 4-minute efforts could just be brisk walking uphill. What matters is that your heart rate reaches that 90 to 95% threshold during the work intervals. And here's the study that put this protocol on the map. In 2018, Dr. Aaron Howden and Dr. Benjamin Levine at UT Southwestern published a randomized controlled trial in Circulation. 61 sedentary middle-aged adults, 2 full years. The exercise group's VO2 max increased by 18%. But the really remarkable finding was what happened to their hearts. Using cardiac catheterization, they found the exercise group's left ventricular stiffness decreased significantly. Their hearts became more elastic, more like the hearts of younger, active adults. You may have heard this described as reversing 20 years of heart aging. That's the media framing. The paper itself doesn't use that phrase. Cardiac stiffness shifted toward younger, active patterns. That's still extraordinary, but I want you to have the real finding, not the headline. One caveat: the exercise program was comprehensive, not just the 4x4. It included moderate sessions, weekly long sessions, and strength training. The 4x4 was a key component, but attributing all the benefits to just the intervals wouldn't be accurate. And this VO2 max improvement deserves special attention. VO2 max measures the maximum oxygen your body can use during exercise. Think of it as your body's total engine capacity. The higher it is, the more reserve you have to handle physical stress, illness, and aging. In 2018, a study in JAMA Network Open tracked over 122,000 patients at the Cleveland Clinic. People with the lowest fitness levels had a dramatically higher risk of dying than those with the highest fitness. When they compared fitness to smoking, diabetes, and high blood pressure, low fitness was statistically comparable to, or worse than any of them. To be fair, they compared the full range of fitness against binary risk factors, so it's not perfectly apples to apples. But even comparing below average to above average fitness, the risk is equivalent to smoking. The most comprehensive overview, 26 meta-analyses, over 20.9 million observations, found that high fitness was associated with a 53% lower risk of dying from any cause. Name me a drug that does that. The 4x4 protocol is one of the most efficient ways to improve it. 2 to 3 sessions per week. Now, I know some of you are thinking, what if I can't walk? Maybe you have a knee injury, joint issues, or you're stuck at a desk for 10 hours a day. There is something you can do while sitting, and the early science is genuinely intriguing. Deep inside your calf, there's a small muscle called the soleus. Only about 1% of your body weight, but roughly 88% slow-twitch fibers, the highest of any muscle in the body. Unlike most muscles, it runs primarily on blood glucose and fatty acids, not stored glycogen. In 2022, Dr. Mark Hamilton at the University of Houston published a study in iScience on a movement he calls the soleus pushup, essentially a seated calf raise. In 25 participants, Hamilton found up to a 52% reduction in blood glucose excursions after eating, up to a 60% reduction in hyperinsulinemia, and approximately doubled whole-body oxygen consumption, all while seated. 2 small independent studies in 2025 have shown preliminary support. A pilot of 10 people with pre-diabetes found a 32% glucose reduction, and 43 patients with coronary artery disease showed improved lipid profiles after 3 months. Here's how you do it. Sit with your feet flat on the floor, knees bent at about 90 degrees. Push through your toes to raise your heels as high as they'll go, then let them drop back down. Repeat continuously. But I want to be honest about the evidence. Hamilton's study had only 25 participants conducted in a lab with specialized equipment. The University of Houston has filed for a patent. No large-scale independent replication exists yet. This is promising early-stage research, not established science, and I want you to know the difference. That said, for people who are desk-bound or recovering from an injury, the soleus push-up is worth trying. It costs nothing and carries no risk. Everyone has a starting point. So here's your roadmap. You're not chasing 10,000 steps anymore. You're training with intention. If you can't walk yet, you're trying soleus push-ups at your desk. When you're ready to walk, aim for 7,000 steps. That's where the Lancet data shows the biggest return. When your body adapts, switch to IWT. 3 minutes easy, 3 minutes brisk, 5 rounds, 30 minutes total. And when you want the next level, add the Norwegian 4x4, 2 to 3 sessions per week. In the first week, you'll feel more energized after your walks instead of going through the motions. By week 2 to 3, your endurance during brisk intervals will noticeably improve. By week 4 to 6, you'll see measurable improvements in how your clothes fit and how you feel after meals. And by month 3 to 6, your aerobic capacity will improve, the strongest predictor of how long and well you live. The key is consistency, and the key is progression. Your body will always adapt. Your job is to stay one step ahead of it. 0 cost, 30 minutes a day, backed by research from the Lancet, Circulation, and the Mayo Clinic proceedings. That's the formula. And it starts with one simple shift. Stop counting steps and start training with intensity. If this changed how you think about walking, subscribe, because we go deep on the science behind every protocol we share on this channel. Drop a comment telling me which protocol you're going to try first, IWT, the 4x4, or the soleus push-up. I read every single one, and I'm genuinely curious which one lands for you. And if you want to go deeper into the science, check out more of our videos. I'll see you there.